this is Emily from D.I.Y. Have you ever been interested in learning about the future or just had difficulty making decisions? Are you interested in horoscopes and magic 8-ball and fortune telling crystals and fortune cookies and Ouija boards, any of that stuff? Does that appeal to you in any way? Well, if you haven't heard of runes, I mean, they've been around since the Vikings, I guess, then maybe you're going to want to stick around if you want to learn a little bit more about them. The thing that I love about runes is they're just almost like mysterious, and they have this like these magical vibes to it, and they're great for if you're kind of like into sort of nerdy stuff. I personally, I mean, I love nerdy things, but I also really love stones. They've been carved from stones, wood, bone. Back in the day, that was kind of the main thing that they were carved into. So we're gonna make not real runes. We're not going to make them out of stone or bone or wood. We're actually going to use polymer clay because it's so much easier, especially if you don't have like a Dremel or some sort of carving tool to carve into stone. I mean, if you want to go that route, then by all means do that. Or if you want to get some stones and glue them on and then paint on it, you can definitely do that too. There's so many different ways of doing this sort of thing, but I'm personally going to mix together some really pretty stone-like polymer clay, like it's a Sculpey. There's Fimo, Sculpey, all sorts of different polymer clays that you bake in the oven, and I'm personally going to choose Sculpey because they have a kit that's got almost like a stone-like and sparkly quality to a lot of the clays, and I think that they look really pretty together. You can make some really cool effects with it. So we're gonna definitely do that. Runes are just they're just really interesting in general. I have kind of like a really old kit that I have on runes, and so it comes with this little book. It also comes with like a little cloth to lay the runes on if you're doing sort of fortune telling with it. And I have a little bag here with resin runes inside. So basically this is going to be the topic of today's video in case you haven't checked out the title at all. If you like stuff like initial jewelry but you kind of want like a unique twist to it, you might want to look into runes and seeing if any of them sort of match up with any of your initials for the person that you're gifting to. So we're gonna make some really cool jewelry. Runes have been around since, I believe, Viking times. Let me see, I'm just gonna double check on the history here. I don't want to be telling you something that's a lie. Yeah, so they were used for writing, magic, and divination in Northern Europe in the 1st century AD. Although there are many different runic alphabets, the earliest and perhaps the most common is the Elder Futhark, I think. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right. The system that was used by early Germanic tribes, including Scandinavian, Swedish, German, Norwegian, Icelandic, Danish, and English people. Okay. Ancient inscriptions of runes have also been discovered in parts of North America and Greenland. Evidence that the Vikings brought over this ancient alphabet when they first started landing there in the 980s AD. Oh, anyways, I'm not going to read this whole book. That's not what you came here for. So they've been around for quite a while. It's a really cool ancient thing. So there's 25 letters in the alphabet. I believe there's quite a few missing of our normal alphabet. Probably the reason why people don't always do something like this is because they may not have a letter that matches up with their name. I know that there's no C because I'm making something with the letter C in it. So they do have a K. So you can sort of replace the C with a K because it actually almost looks like a C anyway. So I'm going to basically take you through the process of making some runic jewelry. So I'm making a pendant. I'm also going to make some cufflinks for guys. It's a really cool present. I mean, you can give this to anybody, guy or girl. You can also probably do rings, earrings, all sorts of cool things like that if you wanted to say give full initials if they have their ears pierced. This is a very quick DIY. You can probably do this within a day. I've already done it I think I did it within 2 days, but only because I was taking my sweet time with it. You can do it in the course of 2 days or a day, depending on how fast you want to be about it. I like taking my time with stuff and just sort of giving things drying times. It can be done pretty quickly, which is great. Yeah, I really hope that you like this video. And again, as always, if you like the video and this type of topic, please like and subscribe. And also, you can share this with somebody if you know somebody likes runes or likes DIYing fun things for people. So anyways, I hope you guys like this video, and on to the tutorial. Okay, so I have a lot of stuff here to create runic jewelry, which I've kind of already sort of done here. I'm going to show you guys sort of what I was planning on doing. I've already sort of done some stuff like this before. So this here is pendant that I made, and it's actually, I know it looks like the letter M, but it's actually the letter E in the Runic alphabet. So I have this little mini kit on runes. It's really old, as you can see. I've had it for quite a while. Like, I've used it a lot just for fun, to the point where this little thing is sort of tea stained and stuff. I think I took it to like a dinner one time and we were looking through it, but this is a really cool sort of like a tiny little book, and basically it talks about the history, it talks about the meaning of each of the letters and all that sort of stuff, yeah, what they mean and all that, and it talks about using them for fortune casting. Yeah, rune casting is basically like almost like fortune telling, but there's a bit of a twist to it, so it's kind of cool. If you guys are really into runes and stuff like that, I definitely recommend getting some sort of book on it and checking it out. I'm just going to do a few letters from here in the alphabet, and it's going to be really, really cool. Yeah, so this is one I've already done. This is like a very long necklace with a large pendant. So anyways, I made this, and I made all these really pretty pendants. So you don't have to necessarily carve stuff out if you don't want to. You could always make stuff like this just regularly, and if you wanted to, after the fact, you could always paint the letter on or something along those lines too, right? These guys aren't carved. These are resin pieces, and they're not carved at all. They're just painted on. So I don't see why you couldn't do something like that if you really wanted to. So I'm going to show you a few different methods on how to do this. It's pretty straightforward. I'm basically going to make some cufflinks, like 2 different cufflinks. And I already kind of measured it out here, so I realized that these 2 would fit actually perfectly, as you can see here, right in that exact diameter of, this is very shiny, of this cufflink here. I'll try to put the links down below to all the different cufflinks I have. I have these beautiful ones. They're kind of almost like antique-y looking, especially if you're into kind of like more steampunky kind of stuff. And these all came in the same package basically when I ordered it, so maybe I'll put those down below if I can find it again. This is like a gold. This is the silver that I took out of the package here, and this is almost like a deeper, really dark silver. They all look really cool in their own way, depending on what kind of colors you use. So I got this really cool kit. I'm going to show you this real quick first. Oh, and these are some of my tools that I decided to use. So I'm going to use this basically to do kind of like a coat after this is all baked. This Fimo, it's like a gloss varnish. So this does not bake. This is after baking. You put this on almost like a nail polish, let it dry. I give it a couple coats, maybe more, 2 or 3 coats, depending on what it needs. And it normally protects things really well, so. And it gives it a nice shiny glaze, which is kind of what I want for this. I have this just to cut up the clay and make it a little bit easier. So I have this kit. I've already broken into it, as you can see here, but it's a Sculpey kit, and it has quite a few stone-like or sparkly, really pretty clays. But I kind of wanted to work with something like this one. This is called gray granite. Can you see that? Gray granite. So it's really pretty and very stone-like, and I love that. I might also mix it with something like this sort of dark, sparkly silver. And in case you guys want to pick this up yourself, it's called Graphite Pearl.
Not sure if I'm going to use this, but I like this. It's a souffle, so I think it's supposed to be softer. And this one is sea glass, so that might actually look really pretty together. I like to use 2 or 3. It says this is like a translucent one. Translucent ones are kind of hard to work with, I find. They look really cool in the end. They're almost like a foggy kind of appearance. Let's see if I have any here to show you how they turn out when they're done. Yeah, they look really cool. I think this is one of the translucent ones here. I think I went through one of them like crazy, so that's why I bought another one. They're really hard to work with. Like, you need to knead them a lot when you're working with them with your hands. But they look so cool in the end, so it's kind of worth it. Worth the pain. Worth the hand pain, I guess. So I may or may not use this, but I'm not too sure. Or I might look in here and see if there's any really pretty colors that'll go with at least these first 2 that I really like. Because I'm making this for a guy, so I don't want it to be too showy. Because at least that's their style. They're not too showy. Yeah, so maybe I'll add some. I don't know. We'll see. It's good to have at least 3 or 5 colors from a design perspective. Let's see here, what do we have? We've got some really pretty ones in here. This one I kind of used. It's kind of bright. This is just black, which is pretty cool still. And there's like almost like a copper. That one's kind of cool actually. I really like this copper. These 3 might look kind of neat together. And maybe if we threw in a little bit of this sort of turquoise, or it says sea glass color, maybe that'll look really cool, but I'll just put like a tiny touch in. Or maybe I can just put a tiny touch of this one in already, because it's already sort of open and it's got a nice sparkle to it. So maybe, yeah, maybe I'll go with the ones that are already open right now. There's also these guys too. So these are, oh, here we go. This guy's already open. So we're gonna use that. So don't need that right now. Yeah, so we'll use these guys. We'll use this guy. I'm not sure about the black, but I'll just bring it out anyways. I think that this and the blue look really pretty together. They're kind of nice. All right, so I'm gonna try to make a sort of a matching set with just these 2 here. And I think that's going to look really pretty. So I'm just going to get a small cookie sheet and some parchment paper ready, and then we're just going to go with it. So definitely want this one sort of to be like the main one that I sort of showcase. I think this is really pretty. So here, I'll show you guys. In the end, it's sort of, so this is the granite here. Here it has like this really pretty kind of effect, and it looks very stone-like, which I love. So I'm gonna go with that with this blue, I think, just like a hint of it. So these aren't air dry, they're oven baked. So you don't need a kiln, which is nice. You can just pop these in the oven in case you guys don't know much about it. Polymer clay. And I'm just gonna break off a piece and just sort of, I can even wet it if I wanted to, which I like to do sometimes. I have this little thing of water to dip my hands in if I feel like it's necessary. And I like to just sort of warm things up with my hands. Just sort of knead it, almost like a snake sometimes. That always helps. Just make sure that I'm able to press it. Okay, so I'm gonna make this into a little ball. Actually, I'm gonna make it into 2 little balls because I'm gonna put them in here, right? Get those guys ready. Put them in there for now. And then I definitely want to get just teeny little pieces of this. Maybe just a little more. And again, just knead them a little bit. I don't want to use too much because it's just more like accent. This is going to be the standout piece right here. Let's put those on there for now, just for the time being. And this is going to be just a little, just like a very tiny little bit of blue. Let's just do, I like to do this sort of thing. I'm just wondering if I should break into this or not. Yeah, what the heck, why not? It's really pretty, I like it a lot. Oh, it's very soft, which is really nice. make sort of even amounts, I guess. And sort of twist it a little bit. That's what I like to do to sort of make it more natural looking. And just sort of twist it a few times. Sort of do that. Again, if things aren't sticking together very well, you can always add some water with your finger so things stick. Okay, so you sort of evaluate what the prettiest sort of side is, which I think is kind of like this. And I just like to, so this is a resin mold. I just like to sort of press it as hard as possible into the resin mold. I'm going to do basically the same thing that I just did with this guy. So no two piece is going to be alike, obviously, but that's the effect you want to go for. I want to go for more of a marbly stone-like effect, right? I kind of like that. I think that's really cool. So I'm just gonna press that in there as flat as I can possibly make it. Just really squish it in there. It's okay if they attach, it's not a big deal. It actually might make things a lot easier to remove them. Anyways, it looks really pretty right now. Let's see. You can sort of see it, the cool colors that you're making on this other side. And I just like to sort of peel them out like that. So you basically have them like that. And look, it's pretty clean, right? Like, it actually doesn't look too bad. So what I'm going to actually do now is I'm going to take a craft knife. Like this, something with a blade. I mean, I should get more sharp sculpture stuff. I'm just going to cut around this. And I've done this with almost like a plastic butter knife before. Something with like a serrated edge to kind of give it more of an actual stone-like appearance. So if you want to make it have more of a raw edge, that's kind of an interesting way of doing it. You don't have to cut it out perfectly. I kind of like the fact that it looks like stone. Nice. Just sort of pop that out. And you can, if you want to, you can smooth it out with some water. And smooth the edges out. So that's kind of one actual stone there. It's not going to be perfect, because again, I want it to have a bit of a stone-like appearance. I like that they're going to look unique this way. And I like that they're not fully matching too. I think that that's kind of cool. Like they have the same colors obviously, so they're matching that way. But I like the fact that they look like this beautiful organic stone. I love these specialty clays that they have. They're really pretty. And I got the other one. So they're about the same size, which is nice too. So anyway, so I have these two pieces and I can leave them as is and then paint them later. But I kind of want to make them kind of look carved. I'm going to use this scrap stuff for later for something else. So I want to make one an S. So it almost looks like a lightning bolt, which is really cool. Oh, this is kind of cool because it sort of has almost like this line here. So this is perfect for pressing into to create almost like a line effect. Yeah, you can paint it if you feel like it's too hard to see the actual rune itself. It might be a good idea to paint. But some people also just like the effect of just the impression. So I might just leave that. I'm gonna make it look a little less like a Z and more like a little longer, more like a bolt of lightning. Okay, so I think the S is pretty much done. I can pop this easily on a baking sheet and I'm gonna pop a bunch of these on a baking sheet so that it's not just these guys that are being done, but just for the video's sake, I just want to show you a couple of these guys. So I'm gonna do K. So in case you guys are not aware, the K kind of looks almost like this sort of a triangle that hasn't fully been filled here. So that's a K. I feel like this is actually probably where C came from. I could be wrong, but I mean it looks like a K but not fully a K because it doesn't have that stick there, I guess. The stick here. It also can look like a C. I'm going to basically easily make this by sort of pressing just a little bit on its side. I'm gonna put this down because I sort of know what it looks like now. I'm gonna press it in, maybe a little bit more like that. Try to make it deeper, just like this guy. And it looks like it's sort of cracking almost here, but it's pretty cool. It's still really neat. Okay, so we have two Rune. I'm gonna use a silver, but basically it just sort of sits right there. I'm gonna glue that in there. But that's gonna look really cool, I think. So you can see a little bit of the silver. I'm not gonna fully sit in there properly, I suppose, but it still looks neat, I think. Anyways, so these are a lot of the runes that I decided to do, and so they should fit right in here, a lot of these smaller ones. I made one pendant and put a little hole in it with like this toothpick, and I made a few of these that they're gonna be for another project, so I didn't actually put any holes in them. I mean, I could have done something with resin, but I kind of wanted to make some pretty stones with them. But yeah, I really like how this turned out. I think this looks really cool, like really pretty. And I love how they really look like runes. Like, I don't think that I'm going to need to paint them at all. You can again if you want to, if you feel like it needs a little bit of something, a little bit of painting. But if you kind of gently go in, sort of almost carve it out deep enough, then you may not even have to. I did it very delicately by trying to, you know, really press down like that. I mean, I did a thing where I just did a gentle outline of the rune before I really started, and then I really pressed down when I got the basic shape of it. So that's another tactic you guys can try if you wanted to. There's all sorts of different methods on how to carve out a rune, so just try different methods and stuff like that. I really like the color choices here, actually. I'm a very colorful person, but I kind of like some of these. They look like actual stones. This one's kind of neat. I like how this one turned out. It kind of looks like, if you turn it this way, it looks like it's some sort of like long-necked animal, like an emu or something. Some sort of like long-necked animal, a llama or something along those lines. Anyways, I think that one's really cool. Yeah, some of the swirls turned out really neat. I'm gonna basically bake this. I'm gonna see what the temperature is. The Sculpey instructions are normally right on the side, so you can't microwave them. This is clay may stain surfaces, so be careful with it, guys. Try to be good to your furniture. Let's see. Ah, here we go. So it says the actual color at the top, but it also says it's 275 degrees Fahrenheit or 130 degrees Celsius for 30 minutes for a 1/4 inch 6mm Sculpey stuff. So I'm gonna set the oven and we will get our bake on. Basically have my pieces that I've made, and the oven is preheating at 275 degrees. So once that is ready, I'm gonna pop it in for 30 minutes. So sorry about the shadow on this film, guys. I'm basically gonna glaze these. I think the pieces look quite pretty on their own. I think they're really nice and sparkly and pretty and shiny on their own, and they feel very smooth. But I think I'm going to give it just a little extra shine. And you don't have to do this. It's not a big deal or anything, but this is a step that I like to do. So I don't know if Sculpey has it, but Fimo has a gloss varnish that works pretty well. It's very milky at first. Actually, I'm going to shake it up a little bit before I start. It's very, very, very liquidy. It seems like it's very milky, like it's not going to go on clear or something, but it actually does. So I'm going to dip like a fan brush in here, and you can wash this stuff off pretty easily too. And it really makes things quite shiny, like very resin-like almost. But yeah, so basically just going to do probably just like a couple layers of everything. And of course, once this is set and doesn't feel so sticky, I'm going to probably turn it around and do the other side. For these guys, I probably won't do that so much, just because I'm going to glue the other side down, so it's not like a huge deal. You can even glue this down and then do the glaze, but I think this is just a little easier for me and most people to just do it beforehand and let it just dry. Because then you have to figure out something to prop it up. I'm not really working on the runes right now, which I probably should be doing, but I'm just going to get these big guys done first. But it makes the color really stand out too, I think. This glaze, or varnish, whatever you want to call it. I'm just trying to not put too much on because sometimes it can pool and then look milky in certain areas. So I'm just going to try to do it fairly quickly and just put like a thin layer on. I don't want to use my other hand to hold this in place, but anyways, if you can, try to put on thin layers. See right here, it's sort of, I don't know if you can see that on camera. It looks like it's sort of pooling a bit, and it looks quite milky. And if you get in the holes, try to get the milky layers out, which is really hard to do sometimes. Just gonna pop that bubble in there. I don't know if you can see me doing this. I'm sitting down right now, so can't see what's happening at the moment. Anyways, just do that. Now these guys, I didn't actually carve them out, as you can see, so if I wanted to, I could make some for somebody else. Maybe just paint them on instead of carving them on. And then I'm gonna probably not glaze these right now just because of that purpose, and I could always glaze it later. And the glaze might go inside here a little bit. It actually might not look so bad though, but it should dry fairly clear. Just don't want bubbles and stuff in this. I love baking this stuff with parchment paper. It leaves a nice thing to work on if you're, say, glazing or something afterwards, or varnishing your work, so you don't get it all over your furniture in the future. There we go. So that has like a nice, really pretty resin-like quality to it. And again, I'm just going to leave these two just for potential presents in the future. I think they're going to look really cute, really pretty if I decide to paint them up. So I'm going to wash this off, let these set, and then I'm probably going to do another coat or two, and then we will glue these on to these guys. So I know this is an E6000, which is what I was hoping to get, but because of COVID, when I was trying to buy glues and stuff online, it was very difficult to actually buy something like this. So I got this. This is apparently a multi-purpose clear glue, and so you can use it for stuff like jewelry and whatnot. I got this a long time ago from Wish, and probably pick this up maybe on Amazon and stuff like that. Hopefully things have calmed down a little bit. For a long time I couldn't get this, so, or any glue for a while. So I'm gonna try to do some gluing here, and it smells really bad, guys, just so you know, so you might want to either open a window or cover your nose. I'm just gonna put a big dollop in the center here. So this guy is going to be right in the center here. It's slipping around a little bit, so, but I can feel that it is adhering. I might want to just sort of set it aside for the time being, just to let it sort of dry. So this is supposed to be industrial strength. This is very drippy. Hopefully this will work nicely. Again, very slippery. So that's a K in the Runic Alphabet. Oh, can you see that? And the other one was an S. Kind of like that, so that's pretty cool. So I think those look really cool together. And those are some cool initials there, so I'm going to leave that for now. I'm going to move on to some other ones here. And these ones are kind of a little lighter, I think, so I think the silver looks nice with them. And this is the Runic R, so I'm just pressing it down a little bit. I know it's a bit slippery, while it's wet, I'm just going to press it down a little bit just to sort of get it in place. So looks really cool. I really like the R. It's so pretty. Hope you guys like it too. Look at that, that's so cute. And then this one, it looks like an F, but it's actually an A in the Runic Alphabet. It's gonna look so cool. Look at that. So I've already varnished these. So the underneath part I did not varnish, but the top parts I did. So the top is varnished, so that's gonna be nice and well protected for when you're wearing it outdoors. So I'm gonna put that down. That looks really pretty. I really like how that turned out too. So this is an M in the Runic Alphabet. I'm gonna use again this sort of darker cufflink. And yeah, so there's all the ones that I wanted to do. Because this is a very delicate necklace, some of the other ones I've done are a lot larger, and the hole was kind of hard to put a little ring around. So normally for jewelry, when you have a finer delicate thing, you put sort of like these kind of rings, which this one actually might work. So I'm going to open this up and I'm going to crack this open. I'm going to try to put these in here, and for these guys, as you can see, like some of the holes are kind of further down, so I needed something larger like these split rings to actually go around stuff. But I think I'm going to try opening this guy here. So this is luckily in a little lip and tape bag. It's called lip and tape because it has a bit of a lip and some tape or sticky stuff here, right here. So I call it lip and tape bags. Most people are confused whenever I call it that, but that's the term I learned. And so I normally get a little jewelry tool. So I find it really hurts my nails if I try doing this. So yeah, just do that. I sort of bend it. Again, I don't know if my camera's focusing very well here, but I'm just gonna put this through. And it had a bit of hardened varnish in here, so I just sort of popped that with my toothpick yet again, just to make sure that I could get through to the other side. Yeah, this is gonna work nicely actually. This is a nice delicate necklace. There you go. Here, I'm going to try to get a chain. I have a whole bunch of different chains here. Maybe these guys, because that's silver, so it's going to go nicely. Yeah, so I'm going to open one of these. So this is actually like a really very long necklace, which I thought it was going to be shorter, but that's okay. It's going to look cool as kind of like a pendant that hangs down quite far. I mean, if they want to, the person that I'm giving this to can always basically put this necklace on a shorter chain. It's a little hard to do this sometimes, but I try to make sure that the ring is closed. There we go. Okay. And because this is going to sit funny on the neck, if I don't put another one on, I'm going to put one more ring here. I was hoping I wouldn't have to do this, but sometimes this happens when I can't string things through. There we go. So it's kind of like 3 dangly things here. If you can get away with doing less, then that's cool. But because of the chain that I got, it's hard to, so you got this thing that has like a bit of a little, almost like a little teardrop shape at the end. So it's hard to actually stick through these little rings. But anyways, I got it now, so that's the main thing. There we go. And you can make this fancy. You can get some sort of like cardstock or something, and you can do like a nice pretty card and then sort of cut little slits and weave the chain through if you want to do that. I don't think I'm gonna be as fancy, but basically I'm gonna stick this in a little tiny box. You can do something fancier than this if you want to, and hopefully the chain doesn't get too tangled. But yeah, so there you go. That's a T. It looks kind of like an arrow, but it's actually a T. So I'm gonna put that little box aside. Let these guys dry for a little while. I'm gonna do the same thing and put them in this kind of little same sort of box.
So yeah, I really hope you guys liked the tutorial. I mean, the lighting wasn't the greatest, I know, unfortunately, and hopefully I can show you guys a little bit better what it looks like now. This is a rune that I did earlier. So this is actually an E for my name. M, Emily, whatever. And I made it on a necklace basically, so I can sort of, it's really pretty, right? So I can wear this on here. And yeah, so it looks like M, which is also kind of like my name in short form. So I think it's kind of funny. But yeah, so I did that on like a larger one. I like wearing larger pendants sometimes. It's a little easier to see, but you don't have to necessarily do larger ones. As I showed you earlier, I did a smaller one, and I'm going to show you that right now. It's a lot more delicate. So, but anyways, this one's really pretty, and as you can see, it's almost like a pearly effect, and I kind of like it. It's almost like pearly but marbly. It has a little bit of rose going on in it. That's just with mixing clay together, and as you saw in the video, and I think sometimes things turn out really pretty when you do that and sort of mash it into like a mold like that. This is the one that we made in the video. So as you can see, it's much more delicate than this one. It's a lot smaller, but it's really pretty, really cute, just beautiful. I really like it. It looks very natural. It looks more like a natural stone. I think this one's really pretty. Even the back is really pretty, so like if it flips around, which necklaces tend to do, I find, even the back just looks just gorgeous. Here, I'll see if I can show you guys. You can sort of see it. But yeah, the back is really pretty. I put 2 coats of that gloss in the video on both the front and the back, and it's not focusing very well, unfortunately, but to me it looks very stone-like, and it's just really beautiful. Like, I think it has like a really pretty quality to it. You can see a lot of flecks of blue kind of in the bottom, and some almost like copper sparkles almost throughout it. You really see it on the back, but there's the granite kind of look to it on the back, which I think is so pretty. So I'm really hoping that this person that I'm going to gift it to really likes this. I mean, this was fun to make in general, so I really hope that they saw all the love and care that I put into it. But I think it's just a unique, fun gift. It's not like too showy, which I think is nice. And same with the guy gifts that I got. This is the A and the R. And I just love how they're just so organic looking. They just have this kind of beautiful stone-like quality to them. You know, they both look so unique and different, but they both still match. Like, they have similar colors happening in it. It's just so pretty. I just think that they turned out really pretty. These ones I did with like a silver cufflink on it. So I'll link a bunch of these hopefully down below for you guys, and you can check that out if you want to make cufflinks for somebody. As you can see here, these ones turned out really cool too. So the C and the S, or S and C, whatever you want to call it here. They're really pretty too. Very shiny. I love how the varnish from Fimo actually turns things quite shiny. And it's just like, just by brushing it on, letting it set, brushing it on again once it's set, once it's not so sticky anymore. And it took me maybe like, I just like left it overnight, and then I just gave it a few hours or something like that to like dry in between coat. And then I did these guys right here. And these ones are really pretty. I really like these a lot. I think these turned out really nice. They're just 2 colors, which is fine. Like, I mean, I know that I said 3 colors is probably the way to go, but 2 colors looks quite nice together too. Depends on how you're doing it, right? But still, they look similar, but not fully exactly similar. And I think that's kind of the nice thing about them. They're not like mirror images of each other. and I like that stone-like organic quality to it. So anyways, I really hope you guys enjoyed that video. I think they turned out really pretty, really cute. I'm really hoping that the people that I'm gifting to really like how they turned out. If you're making initials for somebody, you might want to sort of write out about it, sort of draw a little picture of the rune, what the initial is that you decided to use, and a little description about what it means for whoever you're gifting this to. I think that's kind of like a nice cute little thing you can sort of add to the present and on top or inside the box, depending on whatever size box you decide to use. You could even wrap these in some sort of Runic Alphabet too, which might be kind of cute, but it's always nice to sort of show the actual meaning somehow, because like it might actually represent whoever you're gifting this to as well, or maybe they'll connect with it in some way. So it's just a fun little addition to this sort of present that I decided to do. Please like and subscribe if you haven't yet, and also if you think somebody else is going to like runic stuff. Not everybody has the initials in here, unfortunately. Yeah, I really hope that it works out for whoever decides to make this. I hope that whoever you're doing has initials in the Runic Alphabet and you surprise somebody with their initial on it. I think it'd be really cute to do something like that. I hope you guys have an awesome day or night or whatever time of day it is that you're watching this, afternoon, evening. Anyways, take care guys. Bye!